Well, hello, the eight of you that are here. I hope everything is coming in loud and clear. This is my first live broadcast here on this channel. Some of you may know me. My name is Michael Bontrager. I appreciate that you guys are here. Well, kind of nervous because I've never done a live stream before, so we'll see how this goes. I hope there's no technical issues. I hope the volume is coming in loud and clear. Where should I start? This is a news program on Anything Goes USA, which is the channel name. For those of you that know me, my name is Michael Bontrager. For those of you that don't, back in 2020, I created a news program called What If News. Some of you may have seen it. It was very, very popular before certain things happened under the direction of a certain no-name administration. Thank goodness that truth came out September 23rd of this year, which is probably one of the reasons that I got the channel unhidden from the world, and it has been unhidden for 4 years. My father started this channel back in 2010. It was monetized for a decade. He passed away in 2018, and my very first video on this channel, don't worry, we will be getting to the news here momentarily, but I just figured I'd explain this right off the bat. So anyways, my very first video was in January of 2020 when I updated this channel that my father passed away. There was no videos, no communications, no nothing for over a year and a half. But yet my dad's channel and his library thrived. So in 2020, I did the update video. At that particular moment in time in my life, I was farming with family. Pretty big operation. Without a shadow of a doubt, pretty big operation. If you were here back in 2020, you probably know all about it. You've seen it. During that time, I was listening to somebody that I trusted a lot and still trust to this day. I was listening to Dan Bongino. One of the shows that I was listening to, he said something that was very important, and I took it to heart, which is how What If News came about. He said, if you have a platform, remember what was going on back in 2020. I mean, I'm not going to mention what was going on, but anybody that's watching this most certainly knows what was going on. He said, if you have a platform, you should use it. You should talk. You should speak. And that is exactly what I did. I created What If News. Kind of along the premise of, first off, I'm not a journalist or anything like that. I'm just a normal American that has the opportunity to chat with you guys. And here I am for the very first time doing it live. Guys, I would highly appreciate some memberships because of the simple fact that as What If News continues, the more touchy topics will have to be behind a paywall. They will be live broadcasts, but you will not be able to find them unless they're behind the paywall. Like this video will be available to everybody because there's going to be a two versions, PG version and a PG-13 version, meaning I talk more about things that could get me in trouble because that is what happened in 2020. You could not talk about anything in 2020. In 2021, February 5th to be exact, I became demonetized and I had a dog by the name of Shadow. Yeah, we'll just go that far. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is a commentary show that I hope the whole premise behind it when I developed it was to get people to think that what if the story that's being told to you isn't the correct story? or isn't the whole story, or to get out and do your own research. Read. I mean, even if you read on your phone, when you're trying to figure out if this is right or that's right, and if you usually read multiple stories, then you can actually really figure out what's going on. And why the court does not know. Alina, serving as U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, apparently court officially disqualified her, which is really interesting. And I try to pick my words correctly, because the last thing I want to do is have to go through 4 years again of absolute hell. Believe me, I'm going to make a video about it. What happened to this channel during 4 years? Okay, so Alina Habba, serving as U.S. Attorney, the judges said was about process and limits of the presidential authority. But let me say this plainly: the court got it wrong, both constitutionally and structurally. Here's what most people forget. Under Article 2 of the Constitution, the president leads the executive branch, and the executive branch is responsible for enforcing federal law. That includes the DOJ, the Attorney General, U.S. attorneys, the FBI, Homeland Security, military, so forth and so on. Every federal law enforcement agency ultimately answers to the president. For anybody that doesn't seem to understand that. Congress writes the laws, the president enforces the laws, the courts interpret the laws, 3 co-equal branches each with a different lane. The court cited 3 technical rules. Man, let's just get it out of the way. The 3 judges that had to deal with this, 2 were appointed by George H.W. Bush, and the other by Obama. Okay, so the third circuit claimed the administration violated 3 rules: the 120-day rule, limit, the Vacancy Reform Act nomination bar, and the first assistant succession rule. But none of those rules override the Constitution. Rule number 1 that they said disqualifies Miss Habba, or Mrs. Habba. I'm not sure if she's married, but let's go with Miss Habba. Rule number 1, the 120-day limit. The court claimed interim U.S. attorney may only serve 120 days unless the Senate confirms someone or district judges appoint a replacement. That's interesting. So the 120-day rule restricts the Attorney General, not the president. It was designed to stop unelected bureaucrats from keeping someone in power indefinitely, but the president's Article 2 authority does not expire in 120 days. Congress cannot use the calendar deadline to override the executive constitutional enforcement powers. Keep in mind, these are what the judges said disqualifies her. Rule number 2, the Vacancies Reform Act, also known as VRA, nomination bar. Court claims once someone is nominated, they cannot continue to serve as acting during the nomination period. The VRA is a statute. The Constitution is higher law. Congress cannot pass the statute that takes away the president's core Article 2 powers to enforce federal laws using personnel he chose. The VRA nomination bar was created to stop permanent acting appointments, not to block temporary in federal law enforcement. The Constitution always wins. Statutes cannot diminish presidential enforcement authority. Rule number 3 that they said that disqualifies her. The first assistant successor maneuver. Court claims that the administration reorganized job titles to elevate Habba improperly. Courts do not enforce intent. They enforce the text of the law. If the law allows the first assistant to ascend, and it does, courts cannot block the president based on what they think Congress meant. Okay? Judges cannot micromanage internal executive branch staffing decisions. Period. The president alone enforces federal law, not Congress and not the courts. Timers, technicalities, and interpretations cannot override Article 2. This ruling isn't about Hobbit. It's about whether courts can run the executive branch. And the answer should be simply, they cannot. So that's a really big thing. Okay, so something that needs to be understood. If Alina Habba really does get removed, I mean, we'll see what happens with this. All right, like Dan Bongino used to say, wait 48 hours. It seemed to always work, to be quite honest with you, because when he said wait 48 hours, the story that aired the first day, the first 12 hours, whatever you want to say, seemed to always change within the next 48 hours. And then the people that ran with the story in the very beginning, most of the time seem to be wrong. So if she loses and she gets removed, then the court cases that she oversaw could possibly be overturned. I just wonder who's in court in New Jersey that needs stuff to go away. What if? So from the Constitution battle, we're going to go into the national security crisis right outside the gate of the White House. The Guard members ambushed. What a sad, sad story, especially the lady that passed away. She literally donated her time on Thanksgiving so other people could go and spend time with their family. 2 West Virginia National Guard members were ambushed near the White House. One was killed, and the other is still fighting for his life. President Trump invited both families to the White House to honor the fallen soldier and support the survivor. Now investigators are digging into the attacker, his immigration history, prior encounters with law enforcement, his online footprint, and any ideology, movement, or motive. The FBI and Secret Service are analyzing his devices from encrypted chats, planning behavior, or signs of radicalism. Officials are asking how he got so close to the White House perimeter. Did he scout the area? Did patrols miss him? Was there technology failure? This raises serious questions about national protection protocols. Reports suggest that the attacker may have had prior immigration issues. He applied for asylum in 24 and then got asylum in 25 and then did this, which is, I guess, to each their own, but I mean, the border was open for 4 years. How many people came in? How many people that we don't even know? How many people that are on very bad lists? Just saying, anything is possible these days. And the detail has poured gasoline on the political firestorm. Lawmakers want answers. So should the public. I mean, there's so many times that the public doesn't get any answers whatsoever. I'll talk about a couple of them here in a second. Should he have been here? Did the system fail? Were red flags ignored? National Guard's family are shaken, demanding transparency and accountability, which in all reality, every single American should be doing the exact same thing. Because we still don't have jack diddly dong about what happened in Las Vegas back in 2020, 2019, the big pew-pew thing that happened there. We don't know anything technically speaking, about Butler. We most certainly don't know a whole lot about the whole golf course incident. I mean, that guy, I mean, that story is crazy. If you don't know about it, you should read about it. I would love to talk about that, but right now I'm going to kind of just stay away from that a little bit just to be on the safe side. I mean, I just got, monetization back within 2 weeks ago, so I'm still trying to get the algorithm to push my videos and so forth and so on. Shorts, okay, I got those kind of rolling, but 4 years ago, as far as I know, shorts weren't even around. There's so much change in 4 years here on this platform, which is great. If you're trying to run a business, which that's what this is. My dad started it. I took it when I inherited it from him after his passing. I had 34,000 subscribers, and a vast majority of those subscribers that I now have came since I started What If News. 84,000 of them came in like a 12-hour period in 2023 when I finally got a video through the algorithm, and it was seen, and it did like 7,000 views for 2 hours every single minute, and it popped off at like, I don't know, 1.3 million, and then I hit reapply for monetization, and it just took a big old gigantic dump right on my lap yet again. But like I said, I will tell you more about that, just not right now. I might give little bits and pieces as I'm going along here, just so I'm kind of venting and, getting it off my chest, because I've been wanting to talk about it for a long time. So here's another news story. Obviously, I would assume some people have heard about the Congress people, Democrats, that told the U.S. military not to listen to the president, which commands the military. So let's talk a little bit about that. A viral video shows several Democrat lawmakers encouraging U.S. members to ignore what they called illegal orders. President Trump suggested charges might be considered under Section 2387, a law prohibiting efforts to undermine military discipline. But this blew up even more during a Fox News Sunday interview with Shannon Bream, brought on a Democrat strategist to defend those lawmakers. How do you think that went? I actually have not totally seen it. I read about it. So, with being Thanksgiving, I'm just now getting caught up on all this stuff. But anyway, I found the story, read about it. So the interview fell apart instantly. She asked clear, direct questions. What did the lawmakers mean? Does their party stand by these comments? Did they cross the line, cross a legal line? Should members of Congress ever tell troops to ignore orders publicly? He could not answer any of her questions. Instead, he dodged, he deflected, and even tried to put words into Shannon Bream's mouth, words she never ever said, and she shut him down immediately. The story is so interesting. I'm going to look for the clip. See, right now, I can't add clips to this because I have not quite got everything set up to where I'm going to be broadcasting What If News on multiple platforms. Patreon, X, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and here. All at once. So when this show goes live, you'll be able to find them on all them channels. Platforms, whatever you want to call them. All the links to my descriptions, to what you need to be able to follow me, whatever, is in the links of this here video. So anyways, he literally dodged everything. The clip went viral because viewers saw someone unable to defend his own side. When your own spokesperson can't explain your position, America notices. I hope you guys noticed and all that happy stuff. And if you didn't, at least read the story or find the clip here on YouTube. I'm sure it is. I'll find it. Believe you me. The military community is divided. Congress is divided. Social media is on fire. This is now one of the biggest political flashpoints of last week, and it continues into this week. So we're going to discuss massive immigration reforms. After the Guards' ambush and continued border pressure, the administration is considering one of the largest immigration overhauls in decades. Agencies have been asked to model sweeping reforms, pausing asylum requests, accelerating removals, reinstating rapid deportation protocols, reducing certain benefits for non-citizens, and expanding homeland enforcement operations. First off, non-citizens, people that came here illegally and broke our laws to get in our country, probably shouldn't be living off the taxpayer dollar. We already have 44 million of them. Are they all illegal that's living off of, the taxpayer dollar? No, probably not. But you never know. Oh, man. Border states, major cities say they were overwhelmed, shelters full, hospitals strained, schools stretched thin, and law enforcement under pressure. Businesses warned full-scale enforcement could disrupt labor supplies. Well, hire American. We're in America. We live here. We should be the first people that get jobs. That's my opinion. Which, how wrong is that? I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an American. I want what's best for our country. That's how I was raised. That's how I raised my son. So, it's kind of like how the apple falls off of the tree is how the sprouts are going to wind up coming up. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. If you have a kid and you don't discipline him when he's younger or she's younger and they grow up, what are they going to do? They're going to turn into like Antifa people. Pretty much common sense, right? Mexico and Central America are preparing for ripple effects. Oh no. Well, the problem is they all came through there to get here. So, whatever. Any major shift will change migration patterns. Imagine that. Supporters call the reforms necessary. Critics warn of humanitarian consequences and legal battles. Well, shouldn't there have been a legal battle before any of this ever happened? 2016 to 20, the wall was being built. Migration was a lot lower. And what happened in 2020? Migration jacked way up by the millions. There's no way to really say how many people are actually here. I'm sorry. There just really isn't. So, more of this whole National Guard situation could wind up happening to more situations and more people. You just don't know. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. I really, really hope I'm wrong. So here's a good story, I suppose. It could wind up being a good story. It started right after Biden done took office. So anyways, U.S. envoy to meet Putin. In a surprising diplomatic development, U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff, a businessman turned diplomat, is preparing to meet Vladimir Putin to explore possible peace talks in the Ukraine war. Keep in mind, like Trump has said many, many times, if he was president, that war probably would have never happened because of the simple fact that peace through strength. It really is. It just really is. Meetings like this usually take months for preparations. The sudden announcement suggests back channel negotiations may already have been happening. No kidding. Ukraine fears being pressured into concessions. NATO allies are split. Some support diplomacy. Others warn talks could weaken the Western position. Everybody's an expert. One thing that you can definitely trust an expert on, don't lick a shoe that has dog poop on it. Just saying. Russia's intentions remain unclear. Analysts warn Putin may use the meeting to reshape perceptions, buy time militarily, or test U.S. flexibility. I would say Trump doesn't have a whole lot of flexibility. He's been, kind of like when he was, what was it, Israel and Gaza, where he said, they don't know what the F they're doing. Pretty point blank, right? Right after that, real negotiations really started happening. So markets reacted immediately. Energy prices, defense stocks, and geopolitical signals all shifted. Imagine that. The war machine, as they call it, defense stocks. Ooh. This meeting could reshape U.S.-Russia relations and shift NATO strategies. I hope the war gets over. War's a bad thing. Everybody loses. No matter what, everybody loses. And the reason that everybody loses is because of the amount of life that gets lost, shift, homeless, towns get destroyed, children get, misplaced. We'll go with misplaced. That's funny. Oh, man. They say they're misplaced, but I mean, somebody really knows. In theory, somebody really knows. But, war's a bad thing. Maybe I'll try to get my buddy on that's from Nigeria so he can tell you about what's going on there. Killing of Christians and so forth and so on. There's a lot going on all over the world. Hopefully, peace through strength becomes a real thing. I sure hope so. I mean, what's so bad about that? Peace through strength. You wind up with peace. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is my very first live stream ever. And I hope everything's coming in clear. I can tell you, when I started doing What If News, one thing that I absolutely guaranteed people is that every single time the videos would get better and better and better and better. And they did. I was actually using 3 different cameras at one time, switching between both. And people seem to love that. When everything's operational, with me being able to stream to multiple platforms and I mean, just everything. There's a lot that I've put into this. Once I really knew that, this channel was going to become unhidden. Right now, I'm fighting with algorithms. The only thing that algorithms actually push right now are shorts on this channel, which is really funny. I've put out a few long form videos, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. And I mean, the same algorithm seems to still be there because before I wound up becoming demonetized, and then what happened after that, any videos for What If News that I put out in the first couple of hours would have well over 100,000 views. Well over. I mean, by a lot. So right now I'm still trying to get videos out that are long tail form, but still, algorithm's still holding it down a little bit. It is what it is. It definitely is what it is. But hey, it's interesting. One of the ways that I beat this situation is I used AI against a said corporation to be able to achieve getting this channel unhidden. And I can't thank each and every one of you enough for being here. If you are new here, subscribe, hit the bell, become a member. Once all that stuff is really rocking and rolling, I'm going to be putting all kinds of stuff. I think behind the membership wall, I think I might put all my old What If News videos. That's a good idea. In order not to lose this channel, I had to remove over 300 What If News videos that I edited, produced, put out, and those things went nuts so crazy. Like I said, in 2023, one of the videos that I actually got past the algorithm that has kept this channel hidden for 4 years, in 2023, April 23rd, 2023, that video was getting 7,000 views a minute for 2 hours. That's a lot. And it tapped out at like 1.3 million, give or take. And I didn't make a freaking dime from that because of shady operations. But hey, September 23rd of this year had a large part in how this has turned out. Without what happened 23rd and the admission to Congress, I seriously doubt I'd be doing a live stream right now with the possibilities of getting back to where I was. This channel is going to be way different. I am going to be doing What If News, but it's going to be known as What If News Rocks because of the simple fact that I will be adding some interesting elements to that. I love doing the news. I love reporting on it. But when you do nothing but news without any little intermissions, it becomes a daunting task because of the fact that a lot of news stories suck. Not the reporting of the news story, but the actual story sucks because of the simple fact that you're like, how in the world can anybody ever let that happen? I'm not going to say any type of news story, but I'm just saying in general, that's what it wound up being. And so I'm going to add a little bit of element to What If News. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. It's going to be absolutely a blast. But there's going to be other videos here on Anything Goes USA, such as hiking, beautiful waterfalls. I'm broadcasting from Tennessee. So there's all kind of beautiful nature things to do around here. I want to get into some history type aspect of things around here as well. I want to start doing some cooking videos because I absolutely love to cook and I love to eat. So that seems like a good idea. I have all kinds of interesting ideas for what I'm going to do with this channel because the very first thing that I want to do with this channel was to make it a brand. And the brand has multiple shows. The playlists are going to be the shows. Stay tuned for that. Got a lot of good stuff coming. Car content, all kinds of cool stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for being here. See you next time. Don't mind me. I don't know how to stop this thing. It's the first one.